How can we all have died at the same time?
Trump pulled out of PA, like the rally there. He was supposed to attend a very prominent sport game in Pennsylvania and canceled last minute. It seemed to coincide with internal polling being released within both campaign camps. And so, it seems like rhetoric around the election being stolen has amped up, whereas his Pennsylvania game has been going down the drain. So, yeah, it is, it's looking rosy. Early voting is looking extremely good. I don't think we touched a big on it last stream, but women are outpacing men in early voting by about 10%, which is huge. Statistically, if that goes through to the general election, he's cooked. You know, if Puerto Ricans overwhelmingly come out for Kamala, he's cooked. There are so many vectors now that are kind of aligning against Donald Trump winning the election. I'm feeling pretty good. Did you see Sam Cedar was on Timothy Poole's show? Why ever did you think I titled my stream "This is my Super Bowl"? This is that is my version of the Super Bowl. Watching Sam Cedar just tear into some red meat like that, ideologically, of course, that's my Super Bowl. 3 hours of that. I don't know if he's on for all 3 hours, but if he's on for all 3 hours, I will cover all 3 hours of that. Did you see Cenk tweet about it? I did see Cenk tweet about it. I'll reserve my comments as we get in. I do have to be upfront. I did watch about 15 to 20 minutes of it because I could not restrain myself. And it was so excellent. It was so excellent, guys. Sam manhandles him like a father to a newborn, swaddling him. It was that level of manhandling. It was really good, and I'm very much looking forward to more of that. So Tim unironically doesn't seem to believe or understand anything. Well, no, that's the thing. That his brand is not believing anything or understanding anything. Tim Pool is the guy I watched and realized, oh wait, I'm basically a dumbass, and I could make more engaging content that's more informative. And that's what then spurred me to start streaming about politics. He's never been a smart guy. He's just been a business savvy guy who came up in a very opportune moment. And even the business savviness is debatable. But welcome, Raiders. Welcome. We're just getting started here. Hello, everybody. Hello, we're gonna be doing a lot of content today. I'm really trying to pack in as much content as I can get, because as soon as election day is over, all of the content that we've made thus far is worthless. So I'm trying to pack it all in, and also publish it over the next few days. So if you do subscribe to my channel, you are going to see a deluge of content, the likes of which you've never seen. Also, just for legibility's sake, I did break up the third-party debate coverage that we did into 4 distinct videos because it was a lot. Yay for throwaway content. It's not throwaway content. Also, I want to take some time off after the election, so whatever isn't time sensitive will just come out after the election. I edited 50 videos today and then got dressed up for stream, and now here I am. And you know what? I'm doing the best I can. It's not fucking throwaway content, okay? Let's see. So Tim Pool inspired you to start streaming? Yeah, kinda. But by being a colossal dumbass, yes. Been hearing others say Trump will likely win the Electoral College, so we're toast. I don't... Look, as far as I understand the math, and granted, I'm not an expert on this, as far as I understand it, if Trump loses Pennsylvania, he's basically cooked. He's basically cooked. He needs to win Pennsylvania. Like if Democrats win Pennsylvania and like one other state, like Wisconsin, which I would consider like very much in their camp, I think that the election's going to be done. However, I also have a sneaking suspicion based on early voting and based on the internal polling skew that seems to be coming out, that we might be seeing a gigantic blowout. I would give it maybe like a few days ago, I would have given the gigantic blowout scenario like a 5%. Now I'm leaning towards like maybe a 15%. What internal polling skew? Women are outpacing men in early voting by like a crazy margin. Like 10% more women are voting than men, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. One, that is not usual for the skew, and two, that seems to be replicated across swing state lines, and three, like, you can kind of guess which way they're going to be voting in an election where abortion's on the line. What does the blowout mean? The blowout means we could start seeing some crazy numbers. Like, we could start seeing some craziness happen, like Florida going blue. Like, I wouldn't put money on that. But, like, as I've looked more at the numbers and kind of at the Kamala Harris campaign strategy, we've talked about this on stream. It largely seems to be geared towards white non-college voters. So low information voters, mostly non-college. And that has typically been a bastion of Donald Trump's support. But if you look at it in 2016 to like 2020 to 2024, he's lost about 6% of that demographic. Now, granted, he has gained in minority demographics, but to put in perspective, losing 6% of the white non-college vote, the white non-college voter has made up 40% of the electorate in 2020. If you lose 6%, if you lose 6% of that support, that is ungodly levels of like getting wrecked electorally. Like, that's when we, like, if we see Kamala Harris shave off another 1 or 2% from that, even like 0.5, we start getting like some really wacky outcomes, like Florida, you know? Like, and that seems to have been the thrust of her campaign. And this is why I've been saying, if that tactic is successful, it would basically be the end of the Republican Party. Like, there's not really coming back from that. And yeah, we talked about how Puerto Ricans might save democracy in this election, because that gaffe, and let's be real, not a gaffe. A gaffe kind of implies it was a mistake. That deliberate piece of racism at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally, like, keep in mind, there's new polling out today that's 85% of Puerto Ricans are now are now voting for Kamala. That's a lot. That there are a lot of Puerto Ricans in Florida. And also, the DNC has been making plays for shifting both Florida and Texas blue. There's like I don't know. There is let me put it this way. I wouldn't put money on it, but the possibility went from a snowball's chance in hell to like maybe a 15% chance. You know, like that's my calculation. And, you know, granted, other people who are more knowledgeable than me might come to different conclusions. That's just kind of my layman's view of this. In the same way Trump having a red mirage due to mail-in voting in 2020 and got overconfident, I'd be cautious since day of voting will most likely be Trump-leaning. Maybe. Again, we won't know until the day of, but early voting has been crazy. Crazy. Like, some of the numbers I've been seeing out of early voting indicate that, like, in some rural areas of the country, like, they've tapped out rural voters. Like, their votes have already been cast. And, like, I don't know that we're gonna see a blowout like this. And keep in mind, he lost 3% of the white non-college vote between 2020 and this election. 3% translates to around, like, 2 million votes. If Kamala Harris is able to shave off an additional 1%, we're talking like 2.5 million. We're talking like some numbers that make like that dwarf the like 10,000 votes he needed in Georgia, or 11,000 votes, however many it was. Like we're starting to talk about like the margins are decimated. The margins for victory, that is. I think it's still going to be close. I mean, I think we're going to win. That's where I'm at today. I'm hopeful. All of the numbers I've been seeing indicate to me that like pollsters are being overly conservative to avoid potential embarrassment if they're wrong and Trump loses and Trump wins. And even with those conservative polling estimates and like polling redundancies, we'll say, Harris is still up like 2 to 4%, even in swing states. Like I think she's going to convince not a lot of. Let me put it this way: I don't think she's going to convince a lot of MAGA voters to switch sides. But what I do think her campaign strategy is to convince them to stay home, and I think that they are. I think that is kind of the indication I've been seeing. And I do think that if it's close, he's going to try a lot of electoral fuckery, but I am not getting the sense that it is going to be close enough for him to do that. Hello, Ailana. Hey, Derek IT Pro. And I mean, like, I guess we can get to this, right? Like, we can get to this. Now, keep all of this with a grain of salt, right? But new audio has been leaked of Jeffrey Epstein talking about Donald Trump and the Trump administration. And this is coming courtesy of Michael Wolff, who is being called, a liar by conservatives. This is all fabricated, et cetera, et cetera. However, Michael Wolff was the author that Jeffrey Epstein wanted to have write his memoir. So Michael Wolff has an awful lot of stuff about Jeffrey Epstein. And it turns out that Michael Wolff, on a recent podcast, released approximately a minute of audio of Jeffrey Epstein discussing the inner workings of the Trump White House. This is prior to Epstein's death in 2019, which, like there were multiple years where he was not in prison, and apparently was still speaking with Donald Trump. Oh, goodness. Children screaming in the hall. So, let's play this audio. This was obtained by the Daily Beast. And apparently, Michael Wolff claims to have over 100 hours of Epstein recordings.
I think we have a snippet from one of the conversations that I recorded with Epstein, and I think this was in a restaurant in 2017.
His people fight each other.
Right.
And then have outsiders. He sort of poisons the well outside. He will tell 10 people Bannon's a scumbag, and Priest is not doing a good job, and Kelly has a big mouth. And what do you think? Jamie Dimon says you're a problem, and I shouldn't keep you. And I spoke to Carl Icahn, and Carl thinks I need a new spokesperson. So Kelly, even though I hired Kellyanne's husband, Kellyanne's just too much of a wild card. And then he tells Bannon, I really want to keep you, but Kellyanne hates you.
I have more than dozens. I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House and about his long-standing, deep relationship with Donald Trump.
Yeah. Like, this, by the way, in case you guys forgot who Jeffrey Epstein was, he's like the most notorious pedophile in U.S. history. Like, he had an island dedicated to like sexually assaulting minors. To the degree that his airplane that chartered flights back and forth was called the Lolita Express. Has all the audio been released? Not to my knowledge yet. It remains in the possession of Michael Wolff, and that is one of the most frustrating aspects of this story. If it is true that he has hundreds of hours of Epstein talking in depth about the Trump White House, that needs to be that should be a matter of like national security. Like that should instantly be released. It's really crazy. This absolutely does not sound like AI audio. No, I don't think it's AI. I think this is real.
Like, are we gonna watch Thanos Satyr Dog walk Tim Pool?
Yes, we are. ACAB includes Stone Police. Thank you for subscribing. But I don't think that was AI. And of all the people who would have hundreds of hours or 100 hours of Epstein audio on this topic, it would be Michael Wolff, the guy he wanted to write his memoir. So, yeah. This is, if you know anything about Donald Trump's history with Jeffrey Epstein, this is not surprising. They were friends. They went to the same parties. Donald Trump is on record talking about how they both like young women, and Jeffrey likes them really young. Their relationship isn't a secret. When Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, the woman who would procure underage girls for him, was charged in court, Donald Trump wished her well. Like, this is not surprising, and I think maybe this is a damning story that a lot of people may have forgotten that was published in Salon, right? Okay? And this is coming courtesy of, again, Michael Wolff, but I want you all to pay close attention to who's very concerned about Michael Wolff's book that released in 2021, okay? Steve Bannon contacted Jeffrey Epstein over worries he would flip on Trump. You were the only person I was afraid of during the campaign, Bannon allegedly told Jeffrey Epstein. Like, this is, and the worst part about this, guys, is that I would not expect anything to come of this. Like, as soon as I posted about this on Twitter, there were conservatives in my mentions, in my DMs, saying that this was just Russiagate. It's Russia all over again. It's fake. I don't happen to think this is fake. And I do happen to think Michael Wolff is a horrible enough person that he would simply sit on this audio for 4 years. you know? He might, it might even be that he's currently shopping around to see which news outlet wants to buy that audio. That would not surprise me. And so it does not sound fake. I don't think it sounds fake. I've listened to some AI like voices. I feel like I can tell the difference most of the time. This doesn't seem like it. So all I have to say here is that this story's coming out. There was a story from a Swiss model that came out about how Donald Trump sexually assaulted her. Like we got new sexual assault allegations. We've got Donald Trump like flailing underneath these new allegations that he maintained ties with Jeffrey Epstein to such a degree that Epstein knew about the inner workings of his White House. Like, none of this surprises me, to be completely honest with you. And also, I just want to throw this up there, okay? Where is this? I thought I prepped this. Where is it? Ah, here we go. Like, we have all of that happening in Trump world. What else is mobilizing Trump's base right now? Serious question. What is mobilizing his base? No, nothing. There's nothing happening that is mobilizing the Republican base. It's simply like the cult of personality that is running on fumes. It's just being brainwashed, right? But like, here's the thing. The important part about being brainwashed is even if you're brainwashed, you need to feel motivated if you're being asked to go do something. Okay? It's fear of immigrants, but like, I'm gonna put this to you, okay? Which do you think weighs more? If you're talking about the median voter in America, okay? Average Joe Schmo trying to decide who should I vote for? Kamala Harris? Donald Trump? Who should I vote for? Well, then you find out this.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Avengers.
Hey,
We're
Scarlett.
jumping on the call.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I think you mean assembling. I said
Wow.
assembling. Don, that's pretty good. No, that was funny.
Scarlett, it is our pleasure to come together and to get the vote out this election. Come on.
Yeah, how can we be of service?
Well, how about we start with what our voting plans are going to be, who we're going to bring to the polls with us, that sort of thing. Just
I think
Like the literal Avengers are coming together and saying, hey, go vote for Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris needs a catchphrase.
Ooh, yes, definitely a catchphrase.
How about this? I'm just off the top of my head.
Yeah, like I want to be clear here. This is incredibly cringe. This is something that to me, like, I don't care about this. I don't care about this at all. But if you are, you know, the median voter, you fucking love Marvel movies. Okay? This is like seeing this is like being in the 80s and seeing the cast of Star Wars assemble, okay? Like this is on that level here, okay? These are the biggest movie stars of our current age to the median voter.
I can do this all day.
Shut up. I hate it.
Okay.
I mean, it's original, but
What about something punchier like, ooh, boom. You looking for this? Iron Man 2, everybody loved it.
okay, again,
Yeah, it's for a good cause. I'm not arguing against its efficacy. I just find it cringe, you know? Like that's fine. I'm cringe.
I think we're just trying to get out the vote.
Kamala forever.
That's better.
Okay, how about I'm down with democracy? It's just clean, it's simple.
Okay, I like
You got Vision, you have literal Captain America, you have Iron Man, you've got Black Widow,
that.
It's hard to argue with that.
Kamala Harris down with democracy.
got War Machine.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I say down with democracy.
I don't know if that sounds the way we
When we're
want
going
it to
to catch
sound,
up on
though.
I think we
Skibbity
just
Toilet.
Never. If you keep asking, the answer's never.
Can we get some production though?
Jarvis? My name's not Jarvis, but whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Nope. Okay, we have to abort. We have to abort. I can't. That music is going to be instantly DMCA'd. Okay. But okay. So on the one hand, you have Donald Trump being being extraordinarily racist. People are talking about how he's a fascist, and you don't really know what that means. And on the other hand, you have Kamala Harris, who's like, I want to make sure your Mima can like live in her home until she dies, or like, you know, the Avengers.
It's better than Pokemon Go to the polls, at least.
Oh, it's a lot better than Pokemon Go to the polls, because I'm not done, guys. You know, the other day we talked about Puerto Rican celebrities coming out and like talking about how, you know, you need to get out there. You need to go out there and vote for Kamala Harris. J-Lo has 250 million subscribers on like her Instagram. Okay, like if even 1% of those respond like out of voter apathy and go vote for Kamala Harris, if even 0.5% of them do, like, that's a crazy amount of juice in Kamala Harris's tank. Okay, but also we're not done, guys. We're not done. Okay, let's check in. What does MAGA have right now? Here's Charlie Kirk from the Megyn Kelly Show.
And she needs people to basically lie to their husbands, which they are promoting, by the way, which I find that entire advertising campaign so repulsive. It is so disastrous. It is just like
I'll show it in a minute.
It is the embodiment of the downfall of the American family.
Oh, by the way, Charlie Kirk here is pissing and crying because the Kamala Harris campaign partnered with Julia Roberts to run a campaign about how if you go to the polls, your vote is private. No one else can spy on it. And so if you live in a red area, you can vote for Kamala Harris and no one will know. And that has driven conservatives insane, because conservatives want to control their wives. Like, you have Jesse Waters going on television talking about how, like, if he catches his wife voting for Kamala Harris, that's grounds for divorce. Okay, like, you know, we've got these men proving that they are not safe to be around right and left. Okay, the ad is ridiculously effective. But here's Charlie Kirk.
I think it's so gross. I think it's so just nauseating, where this wife is wearing you'll show it, wearing the American hat. She's coming in with her sweet husband, who probably works his tail off to make sure that she can go, you know, and have a nice life and provides for the family. And then she lies to him saying, oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump. And then she votes for Kamala Harris as her little secret in the voting booth. Kamala Harris and her team believe that there will be millions of women that undermine their husbands and do so in a way that it's not detectable in the polling.
I mean, it's, well, wait, Charlie. It's going to be detectable in the polling. But also, because it's already being detectable in the polling. But second of all, yeah, husbands and wives are two different people. You know, two people capable of independent thought. Just because the husband decides to vote one way doesn't mean that the women, the wives, have to vote in that same way. Maybe Charlie needs to try giving the same amount of respect he reserves for, I don't know, random men he bumps into on the sidewalk, for, you know, his wife, maybe he has a sister, his mother, you know, maybe like, even, you know what, even a half the respect he would afford to a stranger who happens to be a man, for the most important women in his life. And I think he would maybe not be spewing this kind of nonsense on a show, but, you know, that's me assuming Charlie Kirk has a soul, which is, of course, a big assumption. So, you know, that's what we have on the right. Let's take another look. What do we got going on the left right now? What do we got going on the left that just dropped yesterday? Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
All right, heck yeah, it's cool. Black guy. That's one of my buddies. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome.
No, I'm not a racist.
They're taking black jobs now. The whole country's going to be like, it'll be like Detroit. A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe? They're poisoning the blood of our country. Troublemaker. These are troublemakers. Look, I love the old days, you know? Do you know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. Now, if you had one really violent day, like one rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out and it will end immediately. But we're going to indemnify police officers and law enforcement from being destroyed by the radical left. You're changing history, you're changing culture.
Of course I hate these people. And let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need.
Now, you might be asking yourself, one, that was a really good ad. Who posted that? Where did that come from? Well, that was actually posted and shared yesterday by LeBron fucking James. That is one of the most famous basketball players in the country. The most famous basketball player? I don't follow basketball, but I know that is a big deal. Okay? So, yeah, what are we even talking about here? When I think about my kids and my family and how they will grow up, the choice is clear to me. Vote Kamala Harris. Can you link that? I absolutely can. Here you go. One of the most famous athletes in the world. So, on the one hand, you have, like, Charlie Kirk going on a show, being like, oh, well, women need to know their place, okay? And on the other hand, you have LeBron James posting, like, one of the most effective political ads I've seen this cycle. Like, contrasting Donald Trump's statements with images from the civil rights movement. Brilliant work. And also the literal Avengers assembling to endorse Kamala Harris. And then you also have, maybe I'm not being fair to the MAGA folks right now. Let's take another look. What do they got going on over here? Okay, what do they got going on over here? You know what? Let's take a look at one of the most famous the most famous conservatives in America right now. Let's take a look, okay? Let's take a look.
Do you think
what's he up to?
The presence of evil is kickstarting people to wonder about the good?
That's what happened to me.
That's what happened to you?
Oh yeah, I had a direct experience with it.
In the milieu of journalism, or just
nope, in my bed at night, and I got attacked while I was asleep with my wife and 4 dogs in the bed and mauled. Physically mauled.
In a spiritual attack by a demon?
Yeah, by a demon. Or by something unseen that left.
Is that right?
I'm gonna pause this. Yes, this entire premise from, again, one of the most recognizable conservatives in the country. I would argue the most popular conservative in the country, maybe fallen a few degrees since his ousting at Fox News, but this is Tucker Carlson doing media rounds talking about how he was literally physically attacked by a demon in the middle of the night. So, no, he couldn't see it, of course. And I just want to add, Tucker, if you're sleeping in bed with a bunch of dogs, now I'm not a demonologist or anything like that, but I'm gonna spitball a possibility at you, and that's, it was dark, and you have a bunch of animal creatures in bed with you that have claws. I feel like this is a pretty obvious explanation for what you're talking about. But other than that, assuming you were attacked physically by a spiritual entity, right? Why in this video?
By something unseen that left.
Is that right?
Claw marks on my
sleep paralysis
sides.
demon
So he
talking
left
about
physical
being
marks.
attacked
Oh, they're
by
still
a
there.
sleep
Yeah,
paralysis demon?
Year and a half ago.
Ironic.
Was your wife terrified? I know you were.
Wait, do we not see it? Here we go. Lily Love Stuff, thank you for the $5 dono.
And 4 dogs in the bed and mauled.
Here we go. This is what I wanted.
Physically mauled.
In a spiritual attack by a demon?
Yeah, by a demon.
I love the implication here that he shot the demon. Right here. I love the implication that after he was attacked, he grabbed like some kind of, I don't know, holy handgun and just like popped a couple of caps for the Lord into it.
Or by
like
something unseen that left.
Is that right?
Claw marks on my sides, on my...
So he left physical marks?
Oh, they're still there. Yeah.
Show them, coward.
Year and a half ago.
Was your wife terrified? I know you were.
I wasn't. I was totally confused. I woke up and I was...
This is Tucker Carlson's version of an October surprise. Just, you know, this will help Trump in the polls.
Couldn't breathe and I thought I was going to suffocate, and I walked around outside, and then I walked in and my wife and dogs had not woken up, and they're very light sleepers. And then I had these terrible pains on my rib cage and on my shoulder, and I was just in my boxer shorts, and I went and flipped on the light in the bathroom, and I had 4 claw marks on either side underneath my arms.
Wait, why did you go walk outside? It seems like a weird thing to do after you get attacked. You abandoned your wife and dogs to the demon?
I bet you that
coward.
the gunshot was just a sound effect.
The gunshot was just a sound. Yeah, probably.
And on my left shoulder.
I just love that in his story, he ran like a coward and left his wife alone with a demon.
They're bleeding.
Wait, they were bleeding?
They're bleeding, yeah. No, they're actual claw marks. And I sleep on my side, so I wasn't clawing myself. I don't have long nails.
What? I sleep on my side, so I couldn't have clawed myself?
And they didn't fit my hands anyway. But yeah, that happened. So I'm not from a world where things like that happen. I never heard of anything like that happening before. I had no idea.
You're literally a core component of the Christian nationalist movement, bro.
This interview just reminds me of Gnome shooting cricket. R.I.P.
Oh shit, maybe it was the spirit of cricket coming for revenge against other conservatives. Andrew S., thank you for the $5 super chat.
What that was, I knew it was spiritual immediately.
You did? Okay, that was going to be my question.
Yeah. I don't understand to this day. I'm not going to put it
You didn't try to refute the spiritual part in your own mind. You went right into the
Well, it didn't make any sense, and it doesn't now. But I'm not from a, what do they call it, faith tradition that talks about things like that or even acknowledges their existence. Like, there's nothing like that. I've never heard anybody say anything like that in my whole life.
Okay, that's just a lie. Tucker Carlson has covered like conservative politics for like the last 20 years. He has absolutely heard other conservatives talk about like demons and like, churches and whatnot. Like, come on now.
What was the next day like?
Well, the next morning I woke up and I thought that was the weirdest dream I've ever had. And then I saw blood on my sheets and I realized that was not a dream at all. I called my assistant, who was like the only evangelical Christian I know, well enough to call with something bizarre like that, totally bizarre like that. And she said, oh yeah, no, that happens. Yeah, people are.
I called my assistant, and she was like, oh yeah, no, yeah, people do get attacked by demons, don't you know? Like it's the most normal thing she's ever heard in her life. Yeah, that happens to my friend Bill like twice a week. Oh yeah, you betcha. Like, are you kidding me? He can't even lie effectively on this. And the worst part is evangelicals lack so much discernment that they are probably licking this up. They're just like sipping and like really savoring this moment.
Attacked in their bed by demons. What?
Got demons, huh? Oh man, it's like getting lice. Sometimes your kid just comes home with lice. Sometimes they come home with a demon. It's Just part of being a dad, Tucker.
What are you even talking about? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not leaving anything out.
Oh, no, first true virgin, Tucker Carlson 10,000% bought this cabin specifically so he can LARP as like a simple country guy, you know? He LARPs at what Tim Walz actually is, you know? This is actually not uncommon with conservatives. Like George W. Bush did this too. Like Jeb did this. Like a lot of conservatives go down this path of like, you know, buying a ranch and pretending to be a cowboy, you know? It's cosplay to them. And Tucker Carlson has been doing that as part of like his production since he left Fox
News.
News.
You're not liked enough to have your own analog horror series.
Okay, but you know what? Counterpoint, I might actually watch Tucker Carlson if he just started his very own Ghost Adventures show and like went into like abandoned insane asylums and yelled at ghosts. I might watch that. Counterpoint, that might be brilliant programming. Yeah, and the thing is, Tucker Carlson very deliberately projects this rural country guy, you know, simple man of the people aesthetic because he is the heir to the Swanson frozen food company. Like he is going to inherit one of the largest fortunes in America, okay? Like he's insanely wealthy from an insanely wealthy family. He is about as far as you can get from someone who's a down-home, folksy guy, which is exactly why he tries to adopt that aesthetic.
And I'm not pretending to understand that. I can only say what happened to me, and that did happen to me. And then I was seized with this very intense desire to read the Bible, which I then started without any study aids or anything. I bought a Bible that didn't have any.
Oh God. Okay. No, he's just molding himself into the Christian nationalist. If I had to put money on why Tucker Carlson is going this way, it's because he's trying to build up a mythology for himself so that he can maybe take a stab at the presidency in 2028. That would be my guess. That has always been something that has appealed to him, that has been kind of a long-term goal of his, and having a story of how like a demon attacked him and he converted to Christianity, you know, I think taps him back into this kind of insane evangelical Christian nationalism that he's been cultivating the entire time in his, punditry. Let's take a look at this clip from Not Me, Us.
Asshole.
No. But see, I'm an out of the closet elitist. I don't run around pretending to be a man of the people. I'm absolutely not a man of the people at all.
Yeah. Tucker's full name is Tucker Swanson McNear Carlson.
Yep. We're not going to watch this whole video, but yeah, that is him admitting to not being a man of the people. It's an affectation, right? Shit, we're just going to be right back here in another 4 years? No, are you kidding me? Tucker Carlson got brought down. His career almost got beheaded by talking to Jon Stewart, okay? This man does not have the Riz game to be able to become like a new Trump. If he did have that power, his audience from Fox News would have left with him to his new operation that's independent, and they did not do that. It's why he's lost a lot of his juice.
I'm not interested in editorializing in the Bible. I just want to read it and see what's in there myself. I have very low levels of trust for Christian pastors, most of whom, I'm just not a fan at all. And sorry to say that, but that's how I feel. And so I don't want to hear other people's opinions. I just want to see what's in there. And so I spent a year and a half reading it, and then I started rereading it. And it was just a transformative experience for me, but
all right, we're done with that. But that's what conservatives have going on right now. They have Charlie Kirk telling women to mind your place, and you have Tucker Carlson coming out with his "I was attacked by a demon" story, And then you have Donald Trump like doubling down on racism, and also he went on some really weird rambles, and this is how I'm going to tie it into Tucker Carlson here, with Tucker Carlson the other night, where he was just saying crazy shit. At one point, he talked about how Liz Cheney's a war hawk, but she's actually a coward, and, you know, let's put her in front of let's give her a rifle and put her in front of 9 barrels that are shooting at her. What I believe was right about his phrasing there, which, like, a lot of people have been like, oh, well, that's, you know, he's talking about, you know, doubting her bravery and, you know, criticizing her willingness to send people to war. And it's like, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can do that without talking in detail about her getting shot at by a firing squad. I don't know if you guys know that. You can actually criticize her hawkishness without talking about how you want to put her in front of a firing squad. You know, like, I'm just throwing that out there. The rhetoric is terrible. And when asked about it today, he doubled down and said something along the lines of, she kills people. Because, and specifically in the context of this entire conversation, she kills people by sending them to war. And I have to remind everyone, Donald Trump sent people to war and moved troops around in ways that got people killed. Famously, he abandoned the Kurds. He conducted assassinations. Like Donald Trump gave a bunch of orders. He skipped out of Vietnam by faking bone spurs. Like, this is not a guy who is in any position to criticize Liz Cheney sending people to die. And don't get me wrong, Liz Cheney is a ghoul. But however much of a ghoul Liz Cheney is, Donald Trump is at least 1,000 times the level of ghoul. That's just basic ghoul math, okay? He was literally the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of America for 4 years. He wanted to nuke North Korea. I mean, like, guys, what are we doing here? I don't understand people who are trying to, like, be like, oh, well, he actually had a very nuanced point about her foreign policy. Like, get the fuck off. Fuck off. Get some basic literacy. Donald dodging the draft was the only unironically cool thing he ever did. I mean, that's true. I agree. Though, you know, I do think that, like, if you do dodge the draft and then you run to be president and then you complain about other people not being willing to face the music of like combat, you're not really in a good position to do that. And also, let's be clear, if Donald Trump could, to this day, would he push a button that would, like, drop napalm all across Vietnam? Yes, he would. He would do that. Like, I do not get the sense that there's any compunction in that man about, like, not massacring people who are non-white. Like, I think he would be down for that. He's been talking about the criminality inherent to genes, okay? He's been going full eugenics, and he very clearly thinks some races are better than others. But that's basically what the two main parties are bringing to the table at the moment. And this is why I'm optimistic about where things are going for Kamala Harris. And I have one last thing to play for you guys, okay? One last thing to play for you guys that is maybe a bit tangential here. But here is a small clip of what the Green Party is bringing to the table in the final week before the election. And it is approximately 12 seconds of Green Party Vice President candidate Butch Ware.
I don't think that biological males should play in female sports. I think that it gives an unfair, competitive advantage. And
They're breaking out the transphobia. Yeah. He also went on to talk about how he thinks that abortion should be cut off. We should have a 16-week abortion ban at the national level. And the Green Party folks are trying to say that that expands abortion in the United States as opposed to codifying, an obscene restriction of abortion rights at the national level. So, that's what the Green Party is bringing to the table. They are deeply unserious and transphobic. And frankly, I don't think this message of weakness to the conservative position of no abortion, no compromise on that. Let's just reinstate Roe, restore Roe, if you will. That's the baseline. That is the baseline. So all I'm trying to say here is that as we go into the final days before the election, I have hope that celebrity endorsements that reach hundreds of millions of people will reach the median voter. I think that the final push before the election here is going to reach, a couple of percentage points of that median voter, that white non-college voter, and is either going to keep him home or maybe get him to vote for Kamala.
Dono Ghost says people who vote Green Party don't care about queer people or minorities.
It's true.
Oh.
Also, they are being taken advantage of. Their good intentions towards the people of Gaza are being taken advantage of. The Green Party has no real solution for that. Unfortunately, I wish they did, but they don't. So, all I have to say here to kind of close this out is that the numbers for this look really good from the early voting perspective, and a lot of the polling is either tightening up or Harris is moving into a more advanced lead. I think we are going to see a positive election night. Now, is that going to be close positive for Harris, or is it going to be a massive positive for Harris? We'll have to see. But a lot of the polling that is being done about how activated the Democratic base is for Kamala Harris indicates to me that the campaign is going to do extraordinarily well electorally. Kamala Harris and this particular 2024 campaign have comparable levels of excitement and interest and engagement from the Democratic base to Obama in 2008. That's the level we're at, and Obama was considered the top tier of how excited you could get people for a presidential candidate. So if that is true, with the additional part of Roe v. Wade, abortion rights being on the line, with everything else, I think that she's going to do well.
Here's my contribution to the election night ice cream fund. I would recommend Brookie Dough. Have fun, you all.
Shamaniacal the Shamanite, thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. But yeah, I think that this is gonna go okay. I think we are in a good spot. And that is not to say you should be complacent, but it is to say go vote. We're right down to the wire here. Go vote. Because I think it will matter. And one last thing, for those of you worried about Montana, it really does look like John Tester has closed the gap and is now neck and neck with Tim Sheehy. We've been paying close attention to the Senate race in Montana, and it looks like John Tester has He initially reached like being within the margin of error, and now he is neck and neck with Tim Sheehy. So, like, it's going to be an interesting election night, to say the least. Whew. And I've been really, really worried about Montana, so seeing the race narrow like that has been amazing. So, anyway, there you go. I didn't even plan that to be a whole segment, but here we are.